Picture this, an ordinary person living an ordinary life. Maybe they're a telephone operator, a farmer's son, or an indentured servant. They love, they work, they dream of simple happiness. And then something happens. Something so devastating, so fundamentally wrong, that it shatters everything they believed about the world. And in that moment of absolute loss, they don't break down. They don't give up. Instead, they become something else entirely. Something the world will never forget. Today, we're covering 3 true stories from history when normal people were pushed to their absolute limit and finally snapped. Welcome to Explained Simply channel, where complex topics become crystal clear and easy to understand. The Widow's Tank. It's 1925, and a 20-year-old woman named Maria meets a handsome Soviet Army cadet named Maria Oktyabrskaya. Their connection is instant and electric. They quickly get married and set out to build a life together in the beautiful city of Kiev. Maria loves her husband with every fiber of her being, and she pours herself into becoming the best military wife she possibly can. She joins the Military Wives Council, trains as an army nurse, learns to use weapons, and even earns the prestigious badge of Varashilov shooter. She proudly tells everyone she knows, "Marry a serviceman and you serve in the army." And Elia appreciates every bit of her dedication. As her husband rises through the military ranks, their lives become better and better. They spend 14 wonderful years together as husband and wife, building dreams and sharing a love that seems unshakable. Life is good. Life is perfect, actually. But everything changes in 1939 when World War II erupts across Europe. By 1941, the Soviet Union has officially joined the war, and Elia, now an officer, is sent off to the front lines. As the Germans launch their massive invasion eastward with Operation Barbarossa, Maria is evacuated far away to the frozen expanse of Siberia. There, in that remote and isolated place, she waits, and waits, and waits. She checks for letters every single day, desperately hoping for any word from her beloved husband. But nothing comes. The silence is deafening. Weeks turn into months that turn into long, agonizing years. And finally, in 1943, after 2 years of holding on to hope with white knuckles, she receives the news she had been dreading this entire time. Elia was killed in action at the very outbreak of the war, defending their home city of Kiev. Maria is completely destroyed. The news of his death had taken 2 full years to reach her in Siberia. All that time, all that hope she had desperately clung to, believing he might still be alive somewhere, fighting somewhere, thinking of her just as she thought of him every moment of every day. It was all for nothing. He had been gone this entire time, and she didn't even know. But here's where Maria's story takes an unexpected turn. Instead of sinking into the depression that would have swallowed most people whole, Maria becomes absolutely enraged. Her grief transforms into something far more dangerous. A burning, all-consuming need for revenge. The Germans had taken everything from her. They'd stolen her life, destroyed her home, and murdered her beloved husband. They must pay, and Maria knows exactly how she'll make them pay. She sells all of her remaining possessions, everything she owns in this world. She takes every ruble she has to her name and donates it all to the Red Army with one very specific purpose: to build a T-34 tank. Along with her donation of 50,000 rubles, she writes a letter with a demand that shocks everyone who reads it. When the tank is built, she will be the one to drive it into battle. She will be the one to make the Germans pay for what they did to Elia. Surprisingly, against all odds, the State Defense Committee agrees to this unusual request. Maria is soon enrolled in a rigorous 5-month training program while her tank is being constructed. She throws herself into learning everything about tank mechanics and combat driving. Upon her graduation, she's posted to the 26th Guards Tank Brigade, and when her tank is finally completed, she's assigned as its driver and mechanic. In memory of her husband and their love, she has the words "Fighting Girlfriend" painted boldly on her tank's turret. Oh man, I'm so excited to finally see her tank. We should name it something cool like the Widowmaker or the Red Hammer. You've got to be kidding me. Her crew thinks this is an absolute joke or some kind of Red Army publicity stunt. They simply cannot believe they're going to be stuck in a tank with some middle-aged woman driving them around the battlefield like it's a Sunday afternoon. But Maria soon proves all of her doubters wrong. Baptism by fire. On October 21st, 1943, hostilities break out near Smolensk, and the fighting girlfriend is deployed into its very first battle. Maria skillfully pilots her tank through the chaos of warfare, weaving between explosions and debris with the precision of a seasoned veteran. She and her crew successfully destroy a string of German machine gun nests and artillery positions, cutting through enemy defenses like a hot knife through butter. As she pushes onwards deeper into enemy territory, her tank comes under increasingly heavy fire. Suddenly, a shell strikes the fighting girlfriend with tremendous force, disabling one of the tank treads and stranding them right in the middle of the battlefield. The crew knows they're sitting ducks. Completely disregarding direct orders to stay inside where it's safe, Maria rushes out to fix the issue while battle rages all around her. The Germans see her exposed figure and unleash an absolute torrent of gunfire at her position. Bullets ricochet off the metal around her, kicking up dirt and debris. But Maria, with hands steady as steel, fixes the treads, jumps back into the tank, and drives away, saving her crew's lives and earning their complete and total trust. After this battle, she's promoted to the rank of sergeant. The jokes about the publicity stunt stop immediately. A month later, on November 17th, the fighting girlfriend joins a night battle against a German position near Novoyo in the Vitebsk region. Maria's tank comes under heavy artillery fire once again, and an explosion takes out its tracks for a second time. She and a fellow crewman leave the relative safety of the tank to repair the treads while their comrades provide desperate cover fire from the turret above. The night is lit up by tracers and explosions. They're able to fix the damage and rejoin the battle, pushing forward until the position is taken. Maria has proven herself not once but twice. She's no longer just accepted by her crew. She's respected. She's admired. She's one of them. 2 months later, in January of 1944, Maria and her crew join another night battle near the village of Krinky. She skillfully drives her tank into position through the darkness, and the fighting girlfriend opens fire, systematically taking out a string of German defenses on the front line. For a third time, their treads are knocked out by an artillery shell. And again, without any concern for her own safety, without hesitation, Maria leaps out to repair the damage. Under an absolute storm of enemy fire, with shells exploding all around her and bullets whizzing past her head, she once again manages to repair the issue. Her crew watches in awe from inside the tank, providing what cover fire they can. But this time, Maria's extraordinary luck finally runs out. Just as she's about to re-enter the tank, just as her hand reaches for the hatch, explosions erupt all around her position. She's hit directly in the head by shell fragments and is knocked to the ground, unconscious. Her crew members immediately leap out, drag her limp body into safety, and retreat from the battlefield as fast as the damaged tank can carry them. Maria remained in a coma for 2 long months. Doctors fought desperately to save her life, but the damage was too severe. She ultimately passed away from her injuries on March 15, 1944. Her tour of vengeance against the Germans who killed her husband had lasted just 1 year. Though her time in the war was tragically short, Maria Oktyabrskaya was posthumously made a hero of the Soviet Union, a distinction equivalent to the Medal of Honor, the highest honor her country could bestow. She was the first female tank driver to ever receive this award. The fighting girlfriend tank remained in service until Victory Day on May 9, 1945. Every time it was destroyed and replaced, the new crew insisted that the words "Fighting Girlfriend" be painted on it as a tribute to their fallen heroine who had shown them what true courage looks like. Though her story inspired thousands of Soviet women to take up arms and fight for their homeland. The fighting girlfriend saw its final day of combat on May 9, 1945, Victory Day, when the war in Europe officially ended. The tank was parked near Königsberg on the Baltic Sea coast, and its crew celebrated the hard-won peace they had fought so desperately to achieve. When the tank was finally decommissioned after the war, the crew carefully removed the fighting girlfriend plate from its turret, preserving it as a sacred relic of the woman who had inspired them all. Maria's story didn't end with her death. It spread like wildfire across the Soviet Union. Thousands of women, inspired by her courage and determination, enlisted in the Red Army to fight for their homeland. They became tank drivers, pilots, snipers, and soldiers in every branch of the military. Maria had shown them that grief could be transformed into purpose, that loss could fuel not despair but action, and that even in the darkest times, one person's courage could light the way for thousands more. Today, memorials and monuments stand in Maria's honor. Her portrait hangs in museums alongside other Soviet heroes. History books tell her story to new generations, connecting past to present, reminding us all that ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things when pushed to their limits. Young visitors to military museums stop at displays about the fighting girlfriend, touching replicas of her tank, learning about the widow who turned her grief into a weapon and her love into an unstoppable force. Every year on International Women's Day, Maria's photograph appears among tributes to female heroes of World War II. Her story remains a powerful symbol of resilience, determination, and the transforming power of love, even in its most vengeful form. She began as an ordinary telephone operator, became a devoted wife, and when everything was taken from her, she became something the world would never forget. A warrior whose tank carried not just ammunition, but the weight of a broken heart seeking justice. Our next story is of a man who became something far darker.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video.